Firstly, I didn't watch the Oscars because who would do such a thing? It's an increasingly irrelevant awards show hosted by less and less talented people to honor a bunch of adult thespians whose egos are already overripe. They live in their own reality-averse bubble and usually turn the night into some political pandering BS that shows how little they understand about anything that's ever happened in the world completely separate from their own pampered existence. But amid all that narcissistic fog of war, one moment managed to break through and immediately set the internet ablaze. A moment of humor, a moment of passion, a moment of violence. Chris Rock was a presenter for the Oscars for one of the categories and went up there and told some jokes, as comedians tend to do when they are asked to be presenters. Among them was an offhand joke about Jada Pinkett Smith, Will Smith's wife, being in the next G.I. Jane movie, which is a joke because she's a woman who is bald. Now, the camera shows Will Smith initially laughing at this joke while Jada is giving Chris the stink eye. She doesn't even look that mad, just annoyed. There's an eye roll, it seems harmless. The camera cuts back to Chris Rock, and about 4 seconds later, Chris is like, "Uh-oh, here he comes," at Will Smith walking up onto the stage and angrily slapping him in the face, before turning around and walking back. The national broadcast cuts at this point, but international footage shows that after this happens, Will Smith starts yelling at Chris Rock, saying, "Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth." Twice. He says that twice, clearly enraged, shaking, and there's later footage of him literally crying. Chris Rock laughs it off, says that was the greatest moment in the history of television, and then just continues his job as presenter. The absolute embodiment of professionalism. Granted, there was room for about 10 more Jada jokes, or at least some Will Smith jokes, given the newfound circumstances, but I'm not surprised a moment that completely unexpected and shocking stopped his brain dead in its tracks for a little bit. He could have said something like, "But it's okay if I sleep with her, right?" Because Jada famously has affairs out the wazoo and they're in an open marriage. He could have said, "Well, if I can't put her name in my mouth, can I at least put my name in hers?" Or, "Did you practice that slap on Mark Anthony's ass while he was raw dogging your wife?" Something like that would have been great. Might have escalated things too, though. We didn't need any real brawls out there on stage. Not that it should even be a fear in the face of a damn joke, and a tame one at that. Will Smith really slapped a man over him saying G.I. Jane 2? Do they have bad history or something? Because that did not feel warranted. I don't care if Jada has alopecia. That shit isn't cancer. People are acting like Chris Rock made fun of a kid with leukemia, which would have been hilarious, but it's not even close. Making fun of alopecia is like making fun of male pattern baldness. Nobody's dying out here. And I don't know how all the kindergarten teachers who were offended on Jada's behalf can survive in a world where people speak the same language as them. It's not nice to make fun of people. Whoever said comedy was about being nice? The crowd laughed at the joke. The crowd of progressive Hollywood socialites most likely to be offended by some shit like that laughed at the joke, but you're the one whose panties are in a wad? The matriarch and patriarch of one of the most batshit families in Hollywood, and that's saying something, do not need your sympathy. They will be their definition of fine after a joke. Maybe not after a public assault, but maybe a joke wouldn't have ruined him on its own. Later that night, Will Smith won Best Actor for his role in that tennis movie about the Williams sisters, which should have also been presented by Chris Rock. The rest of the show should have been presented by Chris Rock, and if they make a sequel to that tennis movie, it should star Chris Rock. He can be Venus or Serena. I don't think it matters too much. Some people want to say Will Smith took a W here because he stood up for his woman, which is ironic considering how often she lays back for other men, but this was a professional setting of a comedian doing his job. This wasn't some drunk guy at a bar leering at your girl and saying some nasty stuff. Chris Rock was literally paid to say what he said, and he wasn't mean about it. It was a joke. He didn't say, "Will Smith, your wife is a bald sack of shit and I hope she develops a wig allergy so she never gets cast again." I feel like one of my people was wronged in this situation. If we're gonna act like physical retribution is okay for comedians who tell jokes you don't like, that really doesn't bode well for linguistic and creative freedom. And in such a security-laden space like the Oscars stage, the fact that that kind of thing can apparently happen there makes junk open mic gigs at dive bars feel that much sketchier. It's also funny because I guarantee Will Smith has said much worse shit to Jada's face in the many arguments that are certain to take place in a co-infidelity household. Again, though, it's literally not even an insult because she is bald. It's not exaggerating a negative trait, and there was zero venom in the delivery of the joke. Short stream of consciousness, but I wanted to get that off my chest. Like, share, and subscribe for more videos. Follow me on Twitter at Sunburned Albino. Watch every video I've ever made every time you go to a barber shop, and I'll see you guys next time.